Good afternoon. Today is Monday, November 6th, 2017. It is Mother's 95th birthday, and Rob has come all the way from Hilton Head to spend several days with Mom. I picked him up at the airport on Friday and brought him out here. We had a nice dinner. Yesterday, Sunday, Rob took us to the farmhouse for a very nice brunch, and then today we are making this tape for memory purposes. Anyway, we have a card for you, Mom.
Yes, look at
open the card?
Sure. Why not? I got to have a birthday card.
That's right.
Particularly this birthday.
Show the camera the card.
I sure will. Just for you, Mom. Ha 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 ha. Okay.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you, guys. From the two of us.
Yes.
That means you and you.
Yes.
Little birds. We want you to know how much we appreciate the many special ways you touch our hearts. No one could be more wonderful to us than you, and we hope your birthday warms your heart in many beautiful ways. And 11, 6, 17 with some X's and some zeros.
That's Robert's signature.
Yeah, well,
That's my signature.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Well, Mother, here we are. You're 95 today, and you were born on November 6, 1922 in Denver, Colorado.
Yes,
Tell us why you were born in Denver.
Well, it was a long, long way off from the Midwest, which was my family's resident in Indiana, and my uncle, my mother's brother, was very ill with tuberculosis, and in those days, why we should go to a higher elevation. So they were out there for a month or so before his death, and that's where this little birth arrived. So that happened to be in those days on Election Day, which is the first Tuesday of November, but it doesn't always come on a Tuesday. The 6th of November.
That's right, Election Day is tomorrow. It's the 7th this
That's
year.
right. It's off a little bit today.
I'm glad of that, since I have to be a committee man.
Now,
Tell us about these photos that you have.
Well, these photos, I can't tell you too much about it because my mother was interested in the war. I mean, you know, it was wartime. And she decided when I was a little older and could stand to be by myself for a distance of time, she wanted to enlist in the volunteer nurses corps. So that's why she has the band around her head. And this is my father, who she met sometime before they went out to Denver.
They met in Georgia, was it?
I really don't remember. I don't know.
But your father was a veteran. And
oh yes, he's a well-known veteran. Mm-hmm.
Grandmother was in the Veterans Administration. She was doing...
Grandmother, which is my mother.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what she was doing.
Something in the VA.
Yeah, something.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure, so long ago.
So, Mom, tell me about when you were very, very young, and what was it like when your family, like I'm sure certain people in your neighborhood or the area you were in had, and certain people didn't have so much. So maybe certain people had electricity and a telephone wire in their house and a washing machine, and other families didn't. Tell me a little bit about what it was like with your friends, how maybe some people had high-end technology and things like that, and certain people didn't. Explain, how did you grow up at that time? What was it like back then?
Well, you have to go to high school and mix with their kids. And my mother was a teacher, so she was sort of, well, not higher, or not ordinary, I guess, blue collar. So I mixed with most of those friends in high school. And there were a few, because I don't know how I got, I had some family, Radcliffe, part of the family. One of them was an undertaker, I remember that. And there were a lot of my family, Radcliffe family, and that were around. So, I don't know, it was pretty nice, but it was hard. It was really hard. I didn't have a lot that some of the other kids had. So I sort of did the best I could.
I remember grandmother growing up, she talked about having a choice as a woman who needed to work. She could either be a secretary or a nurse or a teacher, and she chose teaching because she was less likely to get sexually harassed.
Way back then.
Mm-hmm.
Now they don't talk. They didn't talk about it then. It was normal. We were in the farm part of the time, and but they installed plumbing very shortly. I don't remember not having to go outside to the privy, they used to call it.
How about washing clothes? Did you guys have a clothes washer? And
No, well, it was one of the wringer. You put it in and you wash it. It was a washing machine, but you had I remember there was two things, and you go like that to squeeze out the water downstairs. Well, he was a big farmer right outside of Lafayette, and my grandmother, of course, and my mother used to go visit him quite a bit, and he had a telephone, but it was on the wall, and if you want to ring somebody, you'd turn this thing like that. But he had all the modern conveniences way back then.
Aunt Carrie really didn't like Ruby too much, grandmother.
Yeah, well, it was sort of a distant kind of thing. Yeah, didn't have much in common.
Because she probably leaned on Joe a bit, and that.
Yeah, my Uncle Joe would come to visit his sister, which is my mother, and she would never come with him. It's just to visit with his mother, say. So it was all right. And my father was what they call now, that's what he had, and he came home.
PTSD.
Or whatever it is.
Traumatic.
And I guess he was in the hospital for quite a while. And when he got out, things weren't the same, and there was the poor little me. And so my grandmother was still around, and there was a divorce. My mother came back after the war and finished her college education in Indianapolis when I was still in grade school. And then, of course, my grandmother was still living, and so they got together to raise me. So she had quite a bit of influence in my life growing up. And my father became, well, he was a veteran and he had problems when he came back, but through medical and whatever, he became okay, and he had a second marriage, which I didn't know too much about. Okay.
To Matilda, and there were 3 kids out of that marriage.
The one's gone already.
2 boys and a girl. On one of your trips, you caught up with your half-sister.
Oh, I had a half-sister, yes.
Well, you have more than a half-sister. You have a couple half-brothers, don't you?
Well, one is dead, and the other's not very well.
And you met your stepmother.
Look at the dust.
Well, you met your stepmother, Matilda, down in Memphis.
Oh, yes, I did. I don't know whether you want to know about that or not.
Go ahead.
Very nice lady, and she lived to be pretty old. I think she's about my age when she finally died.
She had the most incredible handwriting I remember.
You remember a lot of things, Jim, that I don't.
So tell us about Lou.
Well, what do you want to know about Lou? Oh, I found out that, well, she was married to somebody. I don't know what he did, but anyway.
PhD, a very bright man.
He was very too intelligent to suit me, and he had 2 boys, like I did, and she was a medical technician, like I was. Wow. So I don't contact her too much except birthdays and Christmas, but we still see that much. And she's in a retirement home now.
So talk about growing up in Indiana, Mom.
Okay. I went to grade school in Indianapolis, and then in Crawfordsville. The family moved to Crawfordsville in high school, and that's the home of General Lew Wallace, who wrote Ben-Hur. Very interesting little town.
Here, I have a picture to show you. Does that look familiar?
Well, that's Washington Street in Crawfordsville.
Is that your house?
But that, yeah, but it's not, it's being built or turned down now, I guess.
Well, it's
was
a
a really-
fraternity house next door, looks like.
Well, it was for a while, yeah. And so, see, Crawfordsville is the home of Wabash College, and here was little me growing up as a teenager.
Tell us about learning to drive a car, Mother. You had cars back then.
Yeah, kept it in the back, and I learned to drive.
What kind of car was it? Model T?
No, it was there an Oldsmobile? Was that right? Yeah, some kind I don't know why we had it, don't ask me why.
And did you have good lessons?
I don't know how I learned to drive. Then we moved out of the city before my mother decided she was going to teach again. And then I had a cousin that was close by, and I went to a school in a little town called Linden, Indiana. I rode a bus, school bus, back and forth to school every day. And my mother, being a school teacher, she didn't like that too well. So that's when we moved to Crawfordsville.
She didn't like you being on a school bus?
She didn't like me being in the little school. Didn't have the advantages of the bigger school in Crawfordsville.
But you had to live out there on the farm. That's where your house was.
That's where we got some of the money to be out.
How was your driving? Did you end up in a ditch ever?
Where did you hear all these things?
I don't know. I think you told me once.
Then my mother had a job later on, other than teaching, with the government in Lafayette, and they used to drive back and forth. And when I was out of school, she'd take me with her and put me in a library or something. And I'd ride in the back seat, and I don't know what happened. She ran in the back somewhere, I don't know. And the railroad, off the main road, to go up over the railroad and to go down to the farm home. And my mother was driving. It was my mother driving, not me learning to drive.
Okay.
I drove later when I was in school. You're getting your kids mixed up. So that's when we have that's when we had a little accident, and I was in the back seat and really busted my lip. Maybe that's why I talk so much.
Tell us about these pictures of you.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think one or two of them, I don't know which, was professional picture, and maybe the other one was high school. I'm not sure.
So they're
I
both
think
around the time you graduated from Crawfordsville High School.
What did I do?
They were both around the same time?
Okay, about the same time. I don't really remember. My mother thought maybe since she went to DePaul University, which is Greencastle, maybe I should try that. So I did, and at that time I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was there 2 years because I decided I wanted to be in dietetics, and then they didn't have all quite the courses, so I had to transfer to Purdue if I wanted to pursue that, and then I changed to medical technician. And that's where I got all the requirements to be a medical technician, and I pursued that and got the credits and took it a year, not a year, but had an internship for about a year. And then I passed a test, and I worked for a while. I was back and forth a lot with some of those fraternity guys, and I used to go over there and play tennis.
Mother, were you boy crazy?
No, I wasn't boy crazy. I was they were girl crazy. See, Wabash College was a private boys' school in those days, and now I guess it's co-ed, I heard the other day. In DePaul, after I transferred up to Purdue, I met somebody at a blind date from a fraternity friend, and he loved to dance. Can you see the picture?
Point him out. Which
and I think he's right over here. And
what was his name?
His name was, well, Wilbur was the guy who was his brother. There wasn't exactly a fraternity, but it was a men's dormitory. And so he said, oh, I know somebody. I said, I don't have a date. I can't go. There was a party back in DePaul at the sorority house where I was a Delta Zeta, by the way. I haven't talked about that. You need to get that out.
Okay.
And I lived there. That's when I was living there before I transferred. So he said, I'll get you a date, I bet you. I said, can the guy dance? Yeah, because we're going to a dance. This is a sorority dance. So I met my future husband at the Monon Railroad Station in Lafayette, Indiana. And the railroad station is near there no more.
Where were you going on the train?
Well, we were going back to DePaul, to the sorority house where the dance was. And so after that little escapade was over, he would call me, and how about you ready to go out to Jitterbug Junction? That's where they dance.
Jitterbug Junction?
That's what they called it.
Oh.
So anyway, that was my pursuit. From then on, I guess, for a while, we dated each other, and I worked at the hospital. I don't need to have this picture here, do I?
Yes, there you go.
Oh my gosh.
Hold it up. Hold it up.
How far up? Not in front of me.
So
Get
tell
rid
us
of that.
about getting married and going to Washington.
So I was married in Washington. My, what you call him, groom-to-be or husband-to-be, his family lived in Washington, D.C. And we were married at Gunton Temple Presbyterian Church at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on July the 1st, 1944.
That's right.
Okay. I worked at the hospital where I got a good job, very good job, and worked
This is Indiana. You're still in Indiana,
I'm working
right?
back in Indiana, at Purdue, Indiana, in Lafayette, Indiana. And let's see, that went on until he got his doctorate. But he went to University of Cincinnati on a study program, and he didn't like that because I found a picture the other day of the place where he lived in Cincinnati, and it was up in a tower. And that was one reason he didn't like staying there, so he applied for, I don't know what you call it, when you work and go to school at the same time, teacher or something or other at Purdue in the graduate department. So that's why we ended up at Purdue, and so I worked for, I guess, a year and a half, 2 years till he got his doctorate.
At Lafayette Home Hospital.
Yeah. Well, that's where I
went
worked.
there last year in 2016, and it's gone.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure it
Took a
must be by
picture,
now.
And there's a retirement community on that site now.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Now, what is this?
Miss Blood Bank.
Miss Blood Bank. I never that's what. Well, I got into blood banking, and I was in charge of the hospital and a few other things. So, anyway, now what else?
Okay.
That was when we came east to Wilmington. After that,
1946, right?
he knows all these things I don't know about.
So, a baby came along.
Well, that was 6 years later.
Okay. Well, 4 years after you got to Wilmington, right?
Yeah, after the wedding, yes. Now, what? Oh, you're going to pull something out of there?
Yeah, of course. Of course. Here's a couple babies.
Well, I don't want those two babies.
Here's a couple babies.
Well, my goodness.
There's a couple babies.
No, I don't. I didn't have two at once.
I know, but you had one and then you had another.
This was, I don't know which one this is.
Robert.
That's the second one. That's number 2 that was right here. He disappeared, and then you were already here, over here. Okay, now who's that?
That's me.
And here's baby Robert.
It's Robert.
He was cute. He was a bigger baby.
Yeah, by about a pound. I was 6 pounds 6 ounces. Robert was 7 pounds 10 ounces. Here's Robert again. There I am in the famous coat. Continue.
That's the end.
That's the end. Oh, I lost a tooth. All right, let's get rid of that.
That's enough of that.
Okay. So, you were in Wilmington, living in Wilmington. And first of all, you lived in Richardson Park, correct?
Well, you don't have to go on with that. That we moved around a while.
Well, then Edgemoor Terrace, and then Falk Woods, right?
Well, sort of, yes. No, yeah, that's right, I guess. Right.
Okay.
trying to have better housing.
Dad got transferred over to Gibbstown, New Jersey.
Yes.
Take a ferry.
So rather than move and change schools and all that kind of thing, he took a ferry across the river.
From Chester to Bridgeport.
Yep. For, I don't know, a few years. And then he was transferred back. And he became a patent agent. And he did that until he retired, after he got out of research. You were talking about Hanover Presbyterian Church, which is in Wilmington. It's right at the head of the Washington Street, from Old Delaware Hospital, where you and Robert were both born. And so Wilmington is really our home. We were there for 35 years. And Mr. Schreier retired in '89, I believe it was. So he worked for DuPont for
84. He retired in 84.
well, so he worked for 39 years, 38 years for DuPont. That's a good long time. The last 7 or 8 years, he was a patent agent. This is where we were the last few years before we moved out here.
Right, out to Kendall Crosslands.
Right.
This is a picture from 2004. This is a 60th anniversary picture.
Oh, okay. Now that's what I have on that other thing, I think. No, that's just, I don't know which one this is. This is 60th. Yeah, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
2004.
You know who that is? That's that Robert, and that's me, that's that Jim, and that's my dear husband.
And then later on in the 2000s, there I am, getting ready to be in another.
Well, you're going to be around quite a bit with that picture. That's pretty good.
Okay, and here's Mother with Robert the chef down at Hilton Head.
Well, I didn't know you were going to show that one, but that's all right. That's pretty big. He doesn't like to have his picture taken at all.
What about your church work? You've been a member of Hanover Church for, my gosh, over 60-some years?
60 years now.
I don't know.
6. We joined Hanover Church when we came back to Wilmington. And this photo was taken from that photographer for our church. I was a deacon for 2 terms, and I was an elder for 2 terms, and I was chairman of committees for, I don't know. Okay, that's about it. Whatever involves that.
One of the things that you and I have been doing, Mother, is playing a lot of bridge. Want to tell me about the role of bridge, card game, in your life? From way back when.
Well, way back when I got married and we used to go home, all they did to entertain, so they didn't, it was just right about the time that the TV was invented.
When you went home to Washington.
When I went home to Washington, that's where we were married, and the family lived there. Lots of family would get together and have games, canasta, poker, all sorts of stuff. And I thought, oh my goodness, what did I get into? Because I was sort of brought up that cards and alcohol were the root of all evil. And you shake your head, yes. So then along came television, and my husband still was interested in cards, even being away from home. And he got into bridge and became not just a life master, but a silver master, which means over 1,000 master points.
Playing professional games.
Well, he didn't get paid for it, but that's a lot of.
But I mean, they were professional ACBL.
They all were big guys, the same, BCL, yeah.
That's where you get your points.
So, anyway, I was to stay married to this man. I was to take it up too. But that was about the time that I was working, and there were still home chores to be done. And I said, look, I can't keep up this bridge playing and take care of a family. So we came to a compromise, but he kept on playing quite a bit. So it was wonderful in retirement, plus traveling. Sometimes we look it up in the book and find clubs that were having games when we were there, and if we wanted to do something in the evening, we found a game. So I added to our retirement.
One of the things I remember is that you had your picture in the newspaper as Mrs. Ralph C. Schreier for having won a tournament with your husband back in the early 50s.
That was in their magazine. They put out this big magazine. They don't have it quite so big anymore, but anyway.
What have we been doing in terms of trips?
Elder hostel, which has now changed because I guess their, shall I say, business or their popularity slacked off a bit because elder meant old folks or something. So, and of course there were restrictions. You had to be at least 65 anyway, but you could bring along a friend or a spouse or somebody that didn't have to be 65, which is what they are around here in retirement homes, actually.
So they changed the name, didn't they?
Yes, to Rhodes Scholar. And then I got that confused with Rhodes Scholar when I was in college, but it has no
You mean like Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar?
Never mind Bill Clinton.
So what have we been doing with our bridge interest since I come out and play cards with you every week, including last week where we won?
Well, not every week does he get out here, but we have a little thing going over there to try to be the best ones. And we do pretty well, but not always. But it's something to keep acquainted with people and mix, meet new friends.
On one of the elder hostels, we went, I forget which location, we met this woman named Marty Ronimus.
Oh, yes.
Tell us about Marty.
Well, you probably know more about her than I do. She's...
Big lady.
Yeah. She took up, I guess they had a bridge club in New York, Pennsylvania. And she and her husband finally sold it out to another person. But anyway...
Her nephew.
Her nephew, excuse me. And so she got into the bridge world and was in the magazine and wrote a book or something or other. And then she decided to do her own, what shall I call it, soliciting for bridge players. And she put an ad in the magazine, and we got into her, and I had her come here one time.
Right. Where were some of the places we went to her programs?
Now you can tell us that.
You don't remember?
Well, yes, I remember.
Well, let's see. Let's try to remember. I think we went to...
up in Vermont at Dover, and in New York State at Warwick. And what about the one out in the boonies?
Oh, yeah, one in West Virginia.
West Virginia. What do you call that
Right,
one?
something, Cape on Springs.
Cape on Springs. That's where the guy died.
I know, dropped dead, going in to eat. We're traveling out there about a year ago. We saw signs all over the landscape.
Yeah.
And evidently a lot of politicians from Washington used to go there. It was an easy place to get to.
Well, they developed it actually on their money, you know.
Yeah, and Daniel Webster dedicated the place in 1850, right before he died. Yes. And, evidently the water there is very pure, and they were bottling it and selling it as an elixir for a number of years.
Yeah, that's why it got the name Cape on Springs.
Well, then they had to stop that because it was proven the water wasn't that much better than any other water. But we went a number of places with Marty. We met her in Vermont, and remember what happened in Rhode Island?
This is referring back to Marty, the bridge gal.
What happened in Rhode Island? You remember that?
Yeah, right. She had, that was one that was really her own, and that's where they had the storm.
Remember that, waking up at 6:30 in the morning?
Yeah, that's true.
And we had 70-mile-an-hour winds, and the electric was out for 2 days.
She wasn't very happy about that. But we were on our way to Cape Cod and revived ourselves, so...
You came to my condo.
Yeah, right. We didn't stay too long, so...
Well, that was Warwick, Rhode Island, and then we went to Warwick, New York.
I already mentioned that.
Right, and then Skytop.
Oh, I forgot Skytop. And that was...
Who did we run into in Skytop?
Anyway, reminisce of the days of the Poconos.
Right, well, Skytop, we ran into Pat Ketting's daughter, Donna West.
Well, I don't know that that's very important, but it was...
Anyway, and then we went to Buck Hill Falls, where grandmother had gone back in the 50s.
And then we had a place close by.
Right, the Hawthorne Inn. I'm not even sure where that
And
is.
that's all gone.
Yeah.
It was really sort of sad, ghosty area, but plenty of nice places still around,
You started traveling quite a bit, didn't you?
right?
We always traveled.
Always, well, we tried.
We did a big trip in 1966, 6 weeks.
Well, as soon as we got retired, he had always wanted to go to Australia, and I thought, oh my goodness, that's so far away. But we went anyway, and it was a wonderful time.
So you had a koala bear.
We had a koala bear, and he came right up and was at the car one day. And then we went to New Zealand, and that was a very fun trip. But very tiring because it's so far away, with a stopover in Hawaii on the way. And I don't think it was quite direct trip coming back, but it was a little different coming back.
What's this with the deer and with the
Well, that's one of the elder hostels.
and the llama? How many elder hostels did you go on?
Well, and after that, and then after we really, my husband wasn't feeling too well towards the end. About 70-some. We were going about 2 or 3 years. And this was up in Washington State. They had llamas, and they took us on trails. And what is that?
What's that deer sticking his head in?
Oh, we were in the car getting ready to go. And this one was hungry or something. He wanted something to eat, so I just stuck my head out and see, I have a cracker or something down there. I don't know what it is. But that was sort of exciting. One of the trips we went on, this is not Elder Hostel, was DuPont Company.
Show the camera.
I will. DuPont Company. And it was a trip to Alaska. And this was on the boat. I look pretty good there.
Is your hair done?
I don't know. It's different. Anyway, that was really fun.
So you lived in Falk Woods for 34 years.
Is that how long we lived there? I knew you knew all those facts, and I don't.
1992. And you came here from 1992. You've been in this community for 25 years.
That's a long time, but I still don't know very many people. But
You're
anyway,
18 years across the road.
I know that, and I don't like to tell that, because they'll figure out how old I am. They'd love to try and find out how old I am. Well, what's the matter? You know what? I said, what's happening? Is this your special birthday? And I let them think it's my 90th instead of 95. They'll never know the difference.
Well, see, Mother, that's what having been a beauty counselor does for you.
That's another thing. Oh my God. Anyway,
Tell us about some of the little jobs that you've had.
It has a little side job I had. It was fun. Meet some people.
So you went around to the neighbors and you sold them beauty products?
I did not go around to neighbors and sell them beauty products.
What did you do?
I just see them at meetings. I belong to this and that and stuff. AUW and Winter Tour and stuff.
And you worked at Pomeroy's or Boscov's, yes?
I did what?
Worked at Pomeroy's.
Oh yeah,
or Boscov's.
that was to make a little of my little pocket money for you guys when he wants to go. It's to pay for your education.
Oh, okay.
Part of it anyway. So anyway, we came to Cartmel, Croslands, and my husband died while we were still over in Cartmel.
In 07.
Yes, and I stayed there for about 3 years by myself, and it was fine, except it was sort of lonely. And then I decided with my aches and pains coming along, I better get over here where I was really well taken care of, and that I could afford. My husband had provided for me. And so, here I am.
And you have a really nice setup here because you're at the end of the hall, and the laundry's right across the hall, and it's not
Big
in your
time.
own place, and your garage is right around the corner.
After retirement, and all this trip to Australia and back, and we decided that maybe we should really be retired and not worry about mowing the yard. And Robert was coming and going, and he was not there to do yard work anymore, and all the back aches and the health problems and so forth. So we find this place over here called Cartmel. And so that meant a big move, getting rid of this and that. That was pretty tough. But we were really happy at Cartmel. Had a 2-car garage. But the one thing it was not to take care of you forever. So we were involved with Kendall Croslands across the road. So we enjoyed Cartmel very much and still had available to us for a lot of their programs except medical. So when you move over here, you get food, medical, everything, which is pretty nice. But it was
Unless Donald Trump takes away the medical deduction, oh my God, that's never going to be any good.
no, we don't want to get into politics. That's what I do on my spare moment to ease my mind, is to sit and watch politics on the television.
What are the thoughts that you have about being 95 years old? What does it take to be 95?
Well, a lot of endurance, a lot of perseverance, and a lot of pretty much health, not problems, but hopefully not too many health problems.
Do you think studying dietetics back when you were
No,
younger, that really
not
helped?
just dietetics, more into the medical technician probably helped. Plus knowing a little bit about food, and I like to cook.
What would you recommend for people in terms of diet and taking care of yourself?
Just heard a real wonderful lecture over at the Croslands recently from this guy. They're doing a lot of research on cancer having to do with Alzheimer's at the University of Texas. And the outcome it is probably food and lifestyle. And fruit and vegetables are the main things. And we find that people in other countries that have different diets are prone to have less Alzheimer's than other diseases. So that was very interesting. Showed all the cells and everything, and how this cell acts to this cell and doesn't. So it was very, very factual. I'm still here, though. What's really amazing, I think, and I wonder why, and I guess only the Lord knows why.
No, he's not ready for you. You have to teach
I know what I'm going to do. I have to
things.
get myself involved in more arguments and whatever else that keeps me.
You're here for a reason, okay?
I
You gotta inspire people.
That's what I said. The Lord must know why.
So of all the places you've traveled, tell us what's been most impressive.
Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. It's all been very fun.
Yeah.
I'm very happy. Very happy, nice life. And I thank your Father.
I'm very grateful for the opportunity to record my mother's reminiscences throughout her very long life. We are lucky to have had her with us as long as we have, and hopefully for many more years. I'm grateful to her. I'm grateful to my brother for coming all the way up from South Carolina. And I'm grateful to Craig DeVideo for coming and doing this. It was an interesting story as to how this all happened, because it wasn't that long ago, about 3 weeks ago, that I was having lunch with Craig, and I had seen in the ARP newspaper an article about video autobiographies. And as we were having lunch, ostensibly about another topic, I showed him the article, and all of a sudden I realized that he was a person that could do this. And I asked him whether he had, and he said he had, and I would recommend this to any family, to have a record of their loved one and their experiences. So, once again, thank you all for participating, thank you all for viewing, and best wishes. Namaste.